Hey guys, I want to do a quick video lesson here on how to use the daily chart and the weekly chart. Okay, the weekly chart, here, I'll explain something to you. Now, because we're playing in quotes proper stocks, and by proper stocks, I mean stocks that are generally over $20 and are liquid, and they'll have hedge funds and professional traders trade it. That's why they're proper, right? And they generally will follow the rules of trading a lot better than some of these junkers. Um, Now, it's nothing against the junkers. I just think it's safer, easier trading to trade the mid and large caps. And there's more range. There's just a ton of range, right? Um, so the weekly chart is very important with these, okay? Now, the weekly chart on like low price stocks, not necessarily, right? Like, because it's mainly, no, I shouldn't say mainly because people are going to get offended here, but a lot of amateurs and novice traders will flock towards the small caps, right? There's more professionals that trade the higher price stocks, period, right? So, and they'll use the weekly chart. So when we're doing our nightly scans, okay, now I picked this up on my scan the other night. We watched this actually. We caught this on the gap up, and then doing my nightly scan, it did pop up again, and knew that I wanted to trade it. I happened to miss this trade, by the way, but is what it is. I not a doubt in my mind it would have nailed this fucking thing because it basically hit the support resistance area that I was looking for. So pull back on the daily chart. Okay, but this we don't know how far back this goes, so I'll go to the weekly next, right? So now we're looking for areas, right? And let's get zoomed in. So we want to mark our areas of resistance, right? Now I went to the top of this green candle. Could have went to the top of this red one. I just want to know in the area where it's going to tap. I don't need the exact cent because nothing is exact, right? So then I marked out the next area, right? And I thought about marking it here, but I'd be watching the 60-61 area anyway. So I didn't put the, and blue is my color code for weekly chart. So let's go back to the daily. So that's what I've got, right? And I also marked out the highs of the previous day because I was watching on this day here, Friday, and and that's exactly what it did. It found weekly resistance and pulled. Okay, so let's go to the intraday, and that's why you should color coordinate your lines, horizontal and trend lines, whatever you got cooking, right? You should have some sort of color code that makes it nice and easy for you. Because I called this out in chat that this was coming into weekly resistance, and when it blew over, I think some people figured it was going to keep going. I even said, I don't know, watch the rollover here, because look at that, it went parabolic, guys. It had how many green 1 minute candles here? That's ridiculous, right? And then it goes parabolic into that, and it tries pushing, it just can't do it. It's starting to roll over, right? Take it short. Go short right there. No hesitation. I just missed this one. I just missed it. And I thought about chasing it. I called it out. Like I said, I called it out, but then I looked away and it basically dumped. And I thought about chasing it, but because it did come back up, and you can see on this little green candle, it did come up and test that support resistance area and then continue down. This was a very easy entry, and it's something that some people did catch in chat, but I wish more people caught it because it was such an easy play. Sorry, my voice is a little hoarse here this morning. I think I'm coming down with something. So that's what you guys need to do. Okay, if you come to the daily chart and you can't find, there's when you look left, there's nothing there. right? You got to see if there's some sort of resistance coming up, right? Because if it is completely open skies, then there's nothing holding it back and it can really get cooking, right? So that's more of a long. But once it starts getting cluttered with weekly resistance, you're going to want to look short, okay? Because it did go up so much. Now, you never want to short shit just because it's up. But here's the thing, guys. When something gaps up huge like that and then continues north, it's going to want to relax. It needs to pull back a little bit. Now, it doesn't need to fill the gap. It doesn't need to pull all the way back down to 50 or anything like that. It just needs to relax a bit. And that's what it did. So, I want you guys to start using the weekly chart, especially on stocks over $20 and yeah, even over $10, but it's mainly over $20. Um, because it gets widely used, right? Because of professional traders will use the weekly, and then it just works. It just happens, right? The more traders, the more eyes, the more volume, the more follow through, right? So, and that goes with indicators too. You want to use indicators that more people would be using. The more traders, the more eyes, the more volume, the more follow through, right? So definitely keep that in mind, guys. You need to start using the weekly chart or you'll miss out on very solid, sound, easy entries. Okay? It happens time and time and time and time again. This is a very easy way to use the weekly chart to snipe your entries and make huge money in the markets, right? This is why, and this is how I catch these top-notch entries, right? I use support and resistance in and around whole and half dollars. And you got to keep your strategies easy, guys. You start cluttering it with your fucking MACDs and RSIs and God only knows. I mean, Jesus Christ, let's look how many of these fucking indicators you can use all this shit. Why do you need any of it? I mean, VWAP, a couple moving averages, you're good to go. And volume, of course, right? It's all you need, guys. Support resistance, daily and weekly chart. The daily and the weekly chart is your best friends. They're your buddies, man. They are your buddies. So make sure to use them each and every night when you're doing your nightly scan, and as well as on morning gappers. Look in the areas that it's gapping to. Don't just see the gap, right, and look at the gap. You got to look at the daily chart. And then if there's nothing in the way, look at the weekly chart, right? The monthly chart, yes, you can, right? But I mainly will use um, the daily and the weekly, and that's about it, right? Okay, guys, I hope this helps, and have a great weekend.